Yo, what's poppin', my G's? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you all doing well today, mate. Mwah, I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I go across the news, the headlines, social media, see what journalists are saying regarding Chelsea, consolidate it, present it to you guys, offer you my opinion, but then more importantly, ask for yours. Let's evaluate the rags. Lots to get into today, man. There's been an update on Kai Havertz from a couple of reputable journalists, and maybe a deadline. Super defender Gimenez of Atletico Madrid has spoken out how he used to love watching Chelsea and loved Frank Lampard, would have liked to have played with him. That's nice from a reported Chelsea target. Yet again, the headlines are linking David Alaba to Man United and Chelsea because he won't re-sign at Bayern Munich and only has 1 year left on his deal, although I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to come to the Premier League. And also it does look like Dean Henderson might be going back to Man United on a bumper deal. What does that mean for Sergio Romero? Could Chelsea be interested? Should they be interested? Let's talk about that. If you haven't done so already, I want to urge you guys to go check out my second channel, Jan's Yard, where most days I'm doing live football streams where we talk the beautiful game in general, not specifically Chelsea, but often end up spending a lot of time on Chelsea Football Club. It's live, it's interactive, it's fun. Do consider going to subscribe to Jan's Yard. I'll leave a link in the top of the description. Thanks very much. Alright then, let's get into it. Where to start then? I know, how about the German player that looks to become the most expensive German player of all time, Kai Havertz. That's right, Chelsea have been courting the generational midfield superstar for a while now. Chelsea fans are getting concerned. No one really knows exactly what's going on behind the scenes. It has been widely and frequently reported that this deal is being negotiated, that Kai Havertz has pretty much agreed a long time ago to join Chelsea and would be happy with the proposed contract. But it's all about Chelsea and Bayer Leverkusen meeting in terms of evaluation of the player, or certainly a structured deal. What to pay and when. Let's see what the journos are saying then. Christian Forkov, Bild has said, our story, negotiations between Bayer Leverkusen and Chelsea Football Club for Kai Havertz started in the middle of last week. Havertz will become the most expensive German player of all time. Sounds pretty positive. He's like, yep, they've been in negotiations. He will become the most expensive German player of all time. Pretty much insinuating that this deal would get done, because maybe if it was left another year and the deal wasn't done, his price would drop. Would he still be the most expensive German player of all time? Maybe. Who was next? Is it Sane who's next? I'm not sure. Anyway, sounding incredibly positive there. But wait, there's more. Jan Arge Fjortoft, if I pronounced that right, says Havertz. Bild reporting that Chelsea got a deadline to agree a fee with Leverkusen. The 28th of August, Leverkusen start training again. Chelsea have been told to sort it out before that date. Kai Havertz wants to leave. Chelsea are in pole position. The rest is about money. So there you have it, a deadline. It was just a matter of time before the deadline comes into this narrative, comes into this story, and truly marries up with the Jadon Sancho to Manchester United transfer saga. Ugh, I don't like this road. Still, although one journo is saying there's a transfer deadline date, the other saying, well, inferring that pretty much this deal will get done. At least with a transfer deadline date, we can sort of think, hopefully it will be done before then, and not all Chelsea fans will be floating around in the dark. Anyway, that's your Havertz update, let's move on. Oh yeah, a good time to remind you in the video, if you've not yet liked this content, that would be very kind if you could like the video. Alright, cheers, let's move on. Alright, I want to talk about David Alaba, or David Alaba if he's not Spanish, whatever. Alaba. He has refused to sign an extension at Bayern Munich, and the 28-year-old Austrian veteran is potentially looking for a new challenge. Now, obviously, we'd all love David Alaba. Amazing, he'd be perfect for Chelsea. He could play in the left centre-back role, he could play in the left-back role, he could play anywhere you want him. He's 28, he's still, in his prime ultimately, and he's just an amazing player. He's top-tier defender. Defender is how you say that word. Basically, he'd be amazing, but although Sky Sports and other news publications are reporting that, the Premier League's interested, Chelsea and Manchester United are interested, I'm sure they are, but it was to my understanding, hey, just like all the other readers of journalism, it was to my understanding that he didn't want to move to the Premier League and potentially was hoping he might go to Spain, I guess, to one of the Spanish giants. I'm not so sure. I did want to report on the story because it's in the headlines, and that's what we do on this show. We evaluate news headlines. I would absolutely love him. It's interesting how he's not going to stay with Bayern. I wouldn't get too excited about him coming to Chelsea. Right, next. Jose Gimenez of Atletico Madrid. Matt Law said this player could potentially change Chelsea's defensive fortunes the same way Virgil van Dijk changed Liverpool's defensive fortunes. Ooh, that sounds positive. Obviously, he's been reported as a Chelsea target, and I believe Chelsea are actually very interested in the player, although they would not be interested in meeting his buyout clause, which apparently is seemingly the only way to acquire the player. He was on some live stream show and he spoke of his love of Frank Lampard, how he would have loved to have played with him, how he loved watching Chelsea. One of his heroes, in fact. Now, this is one of those things when Frank Lampard likes a social media post from someone and everyone loses their mind. Does this mean anything in particular? No, not really. He was in the midst of a conversation and he was just telling someone his feelings about a team and a player. There's no insinuation there that there's an impending transfer, but it is positive because Chelsea are interested in the player, and if the player sees Frank Lampard as one of his heroes and he loves watching Chelsea, that's good, right? That does bode well. It's not like, oh yeah, he's one of Chelsea's targets, but he's a lifelong Tottenham fan and hates everything about Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? So it's positive, it means something, and hopefully, I'd love to see him at Chelsea, but Chelsea don't have an endless sack of money here. They can't just pay 100 million euros on this defender, buy Havertz, this player, that player. It simply won't happen. But if he wanted to leave Madrid and there could be, a transfer request and negotiations, who knows, one day maybe it could happen. But, there's no real developments in the story at the moment, except from him really liking Chelsea. Alright then, let's move on. It does look like Dean Henderson's going to sign a new deal with Manchester United. Now, obviously you could be cynical and be like, oh yeah, that's just to help them out so they can sell him for £70 million or something crazy. Or he's just getting a well-deserved new decent contract. He'll want to play, so maybe they'll give him that contract, loan him out, and maybe loan him out to someone like Chelsea. Could they do that? Would they do that? Probably not. Still, the stories are floating around that he's going to challenge David De Gea, maybe take his first team spot, and they'll be going neck and neck at Old Trafford. What does that mean for Sergio Romero, the 33-year-old? I quite like him, and there is a story linking him to Chelsea. If Chelsea can get him for a relatively inexpensive contract at his age, I would be interested to see him at Stamford Bridge. He's a very good goalkeeper. Manchester United fans at the moment are annoyed when David De Gea starts over Sergio Romero. He's always, in my eyes, been the best number 2 in the Premier League, and sure, he's not a long-term option, but if Chelsea are rummaging around looking at, Foster and stuff, why not look at Romero? He's a great shot stopper, he generally doesn't do any howlers, and I think his record in goal for Manchester United is pretty darn immaculate. Hey, that's just my opinion, man. Anyway, what do you guys think? I'm really interested in getting interactive with you guys down in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on all the stories I've spoken of, whether that's the Kai Havertz deadline, whether that's Sergio Romero potentially being an option for Chelsea. What do you think of Jose Gimenez? Do you think that's likely at all? And what else did I talk about? Oh yeah, the very unlikely chance of David Alaba coming to the Premier League. All that. So do get down in the comment section below, let me know how you feel. Like the video if you've liked the video, please. Subscribe to Football Therapy if you're new. Anyway, thanks for your support, guys. That's it from me. I'm going to wind it down. So enjoy the football, and I will see you later. Hey, what's happening everybody? Yannick back to talk to you about Jan's Yard and more specifically my new show, Chatting Balls. I'm here comfortably sitting in my studio chair editing this video, but really want to take this opportunity to let you know about this new show I'm doing. I'm using my other platform, Jan's Yard, to continue talking about football because, hey, that's what you guys love the most, but not specifically Chelsea. That's right, it's a live show when I talk about all things football, whether it's Champions League, what's happening in league football at the time, big transfers, scandals, etc. But of course, me being a Chelsea fan, and at the moment the majority of my viewers being Chelsea fans, we talk a lot about Chelsea Football Club as well. But it's fun talking about everything in world football. So guys, please do come check out Jan's Yard, subscribe, tune in to the new live stream show, Chatting Balls. Show your support. We're north of 7k subs now. Thank you so much for all your love and kindness. I'm out. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living. I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines. I rap through thought. Body bag the verse. Outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double, silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me